Every soldier on the front knew cold, hunger and exhaustion. Rations were limited, campfires weren't always possible, and a simple cup of hot coffee or boiled water could mean the difference between despair and a second wind of strength. During World War II, armies faced the problem of feeding men on the move, often in hostile environments where smoke or bright flames could expose their position to the enemy. Out of that necessity came one of the most ingenious and honestly underrated survival tools of the war, the tiny folding Esbit pocket stove. No larger than a wallet, it could unfold, hold a pot, and with a single fuel tablet bring water to a boil almost anywhere. This little device became a lifeline for soldiers and remains one of the most enduring survival inventions still in use today. Let's take a closer look at this remarkable piece of wartime ingenuity, how it worked, how soldiers used it in the field, and why survivalists and outdoor enthusiasts still keep one in their kits to this day. Before the pocket stove, heating food or boiling water on the battlefield required either an open fire or bulky equipment. Both options came with obvious problems. Fires produced smoke and light which in enemy territory could expose a soldier's position to scouts or snipers. Large cooking equipment was heavy, slow to set up, and impractical for fast-moving units or individuals cut off from supply lines. The Esbit stove solved these issues with stunning simplicity. Developed in Germany in the 1930s, its name derived from Erich Schumm Brennstoff in Tabletten, referring to the inventor and the solid fuel tablets it used. The stove itself was a compact folding metal frame. When closed, it fit in a pocket or rucksack. When opened, it provided a stable platform to hold a mess tin, cup or small pan. The magic was in the fuel lightweight tablets made of hexamine, a smokeless solid fuel that ignited easily, burned hot and left little residue. For soldiers, this meant they could stop for a few minutes, set up the stove, strike a match, and in under 10 minutes have hot water for coffee, tea, soup, or sterilizing drinking water. It required no heavy fuel cans, no piles of wood, and no revealing smoke signals. That combination of stealth, portability, and reliability made it indispensable across many fronts. Accounts from the war show that the pocket stove became more than just a cooking tool. It was really a psychological anchor. On those long marches in freezing weather, men would huddle over the little flame just waiting for their canteen cup to steam. In the trenches, where dampness and mud never seemed to end, the stove offered a rare bit of comfort and independence. And even if rations were monotonous, heating a can of soup or making coffee, well, it restored a sense of normalcy. It was also practical in ways that went beyond food. Boiled water was vital in preventing disease, especially when drinking from streams or wells of uncertain quality. A single tablet could bring about half a litre of water to a rolling boil, making it safer to drink. In emergencies, soldiers even used the stove to heat small medical tools or, melt snow for hydration. In this way, the Esbit stove wasn't just another piece of gear. It was a survival system in miniature, one that soldiers trusted in moments when larger resources weren't available. Part of what made the pocket stove legendary is how little it needed to function. The stove was nothing more than two folding wings of sheet steel, sometimes galvanized to resist rust. When folded down, it was about the size of a deck of cards. Opened up, the wings formed a support for the pot, while leaving a small cavity underneath where the fuel tablet burned. This design meant there were no moving parts to break and no complicated assembly. It could be set up in seconds, used in nearly any environment, and packed away just as quickly. Soldiers often carried extra tablets in their pockets or ration tins, since the fuel was stable, lightweight and waterproof when packaged. That same design is why the stove is still manufactured today, with almost no changes. Hikers, campers and preppers appreciate the same qualities soldiers did: low weight, no need for liquid fuel, and the ability to boil water quietly in minutes. For history buffs and, survival-minded gardeners alike, the stove isn't just an artifact, it's a practical tool. You can still buy authentic Esbit stoves or similar versions, often packaged with a few tablets. To use one effectively, place the stove on a stable, heat-proof surface. Open the wings to create a pot rest. Place one fuel tablet in the center cavity, light it with a match or lighter, and immediately set your cup or pot above the flame. A single 14-gram tablet will burn for about 12 minutes. That's enough to boil roughly half a litre of water in a standard mess tin, depending on wind conditions. To conserve tablets, some soldiers would break them in half for smaller tasks, such as heating soup or warming up coffee. Modern users can, well, do the same. For outdoor cooking, you can use the stove not only to boil water, but also to heat canned meals, rehydrate dried foods, or even cook eggs in a small pan. The key is keeping meals simple and choosing lightweight cookware with tight-fitting lids to trap heat. If you cannot get an original or modern reproduction, it's possible to create a makeshift version using simple materials. Start with a small tin box, such as an Altoids tin, or 2 flat pieces of metal that can be bent to form supports. Cut or bend them so that when folded, they fit flat in your pocket, and when opened, they create a platform to hold a cup above a small cavity for fuel. For fuel, hexamine tablets are still available, but you can also use alternatives such as trioxane tablets, alcohol gel packs, or even tightly compressed wax-soaked cotton. The goal is a compact, steady flame that burns long enough to boil water. Always test your design in a safe outdoor area, making sure the flame is stable and your cookware doesn't tip. Many first-time users underestimate the importance of wind protection. Even though hexamine tablets burn hot, they are vulnerable to breezes that can rob the flame of heat. Soldiers often built a small windbreak with rocks, earth, or their helmets to shelter the stove. For modern use, always carry a bit of aluminum foil or use the terrain itself to block wind. Another common mistake, folks, is overloading the stove with pots that are just too large or heavy. You see, the folding frame is really designed for small, lightweight containers. Using oversized cookware can, well, lead to tipping, spilling, or even smothering the flame. So stick to mess tins, camping cups, or small pans for the best results. And finally, never ever use the stove inside enclosed spaces without proper ventilation. Though it burns relatively clean compared to wood or kerosene, it still produces fumes that can be harmful in small, unventilated areas. The genius of the WWII pocket stove, my friends, lies in its simplicity. At a time when logistics and survival were stretched to the limit, it gave soldiers a dependable way to bring heat and life back into the coldest, harshest days. Its success wasn't about advanced technology, but about meeting basic human needs in the most efficient way possible. That is why, more than 80 years later, hikers tuck one into their packs, survivalists keep one in their bug-out bags, and historians treasure them as examples of wartime ingenuity that transcended the battlefield. It stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest tools can carry the greatest weight in history. The story of the WWII pocket stove is not just about the past. It's about resilience, adaptation, and the ongoing value of simple designs that work when everything else fails. If you want more stories like this, connecting the forgotten survival inventions of history to the challenges we face today, make sure to subscribe to In the Beginning and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. There are countless ingenious tools and methods from the past waiting to be rediscovered, and together we'll uncover them one by one.